Gainesville is located in the southeast region of the United States in North Florida. Gainesville is home to a unique educational experience for students and the public known as the U.S. Natural Area Teaching Laboratory. The Natural Area Teaching Lab gives researchers and students the opportunities to discover and explore many different ecosystems. If you don't live near the Gainesville area or you don't have the opportunity to explore any unique ecosystems like the ones in the Natural Area Teaching Lab, you're in luck. You are about to get a first-hand look at what the Natural Area Teaching Lab in Gainesville has to offer, and you will learn a lot about one particular ecosystem known as the Old Field Succession. But before we talk about this very interesting ecosystem, let's go over some important vocabulary words that you will need to understand. Biotic factors are living things such as plants or animals that inhabit an ecosystem. Abiotic factors are non-living things such as the weather that affect an ecosystem. Perennial means existing or lasting for a long period of time. Lastly, pioneer species are types of plants that are the first to colonize ecosystems that have been disrupted or destroyed. The old field succession ecosystem is land that has been cleared and farmed, then abandoned. Typical old field successions in North Florida are dominated by pioneer species such as shrubs and weeds. Other biotic factors include perennial grasses, blackberry, dog fennel, loblolly pine, and mixed hardwoods. Abiotic factors of this ecosystem include abundant exposure to sunlight and the mostly warm weather year-round. Weather patterns including precipitation, as well as a high concentration of minerals and low amounts of pollution are characteristics of the old field succession. Now, let's learn about the interesting and unique plant species that can be found in this ecosystem. Bidens alba, more commonly known as beggar ticks, are annual or short-lived perennial and are an invasive weed that can be found throughout the United States. The leaves are edible and can be used for medicine. The seeds of beggar ticks detach easily from the plant and cling to passing animals. Now let's take a look at Oxalis stricta. Does this plant species remind you of something? If you said that Oxalis stricta, or yellow wood sorrel, reminds you of a four-leaf clover, you're not alone. Many people confuse this perennial for a clover. The Oxalis stricta reproduces by seed and by using parts of its root. It is a common garden weed native to North America. Next is Digitaria sanguinalis. It is also known as crabgrass. It takes advantage of low fertility land and weakens other grasses. It is known as the most common type of weed and has a preference for full or partial sun. Malugo verticillata, or carpet weed as it is commonly known, is a common summer annual that can only reproduce by seed. The last plant species we will explore from the old field succession is Rumix hostatulus, or heart-winged sorrel. Its leaves are basal, meaning they grow from the lowest part of the stem. It is a perennial found on many roadsides and pastures and is a member of the buckwheat family native to the southeast U.S. Now that you've learned about many of the plant species found in the old field succession ecosystem, let's look at this food chain showing some of the energy exchanges that occur. The chain starts with the primary energy source, which is the sun. The 5 plant species that you just learned about make their own food using energy from the sun and are known as primary producers. Next, you can see that butterflies get their energy from beggar ticks, which makes the butterfly a primary consumer. The next arrow shows that the bird, a secondary consumer, gets its energy from the primary consumer, the butterfly. Notice that birds also feed on beggar ticks, and so they can be considered primary consumers and secondary consumers. Not pictured are decomposers, which are bacteria and fungi that break down an organism when it dies, so the exchange of energy continues. You've learned a lot about the old field succession, its biotic and abiotic factors, and many of the plant species that inhabit it. Now let's look at a Venn diagram showing the similarities and differences between the old field succession ecosystem and another ecosystem that can be found in the Natural Area Teaching Laboratory, known as the wetlands. Notice that the only thing that both ecosystems have in common is their variety of plant life, but other than that, there are many differences. Why do you think this is? We hope you enjoyed learning about some of the unique ecosystems that can be found in the Natural Area Teaching Lab in Gainesville, Florida. If you would like to learn more or would like to plan a trip to the lab with your classroom, you or your teacher can visit natl.ifas.ufl.edu for more information.